with this theme, which is shifting stands and the Gulf's leap into a global innovation centre. So I would like now to invite our other panelists to the stage to join Dr. Abdullah. Hans Doister, the founder and CEO of SU Group from the Netherlands. He is renowned for his innovation in technology and engineering solutions. Please come and sit down, and you're second along. And we have Ian Johnston, the Chief Executive of the Dubai Financial Services Authority. You know him well. He's a former lawyer and global advisor to regulatory bodies, and of course some key international regulatory forums as well. And he is followed on the stage by Tariq Sultan. He's from Agility Global from Kuwait, again, very experienced across 6 continents, a background in supply chain, and sitting on various boards, including the World Economic Forum. And their moderator today, joining us from the right, is Dr. Kevin Lee, chairman of Mojila Biotech in China, and again, over 25 years of experience in the biotech industry and founding several successful companies. Gentlemen, over to you.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to moderate this very distinguished panel from diverse background and talk about a very, very important topic of transitioning from a resource-based economy into a innovation powerhouse. And in the opening remark, we heard very inspirational speech from Dr. Abdallah, and the confidence and the key reasons why we are confident. And so I'm a biologist by training, so I like the word ecosystem. We talk about attraction of talents, we talk about building an ecosystem. There are a few key things that Professor Abdallah already mentioned as well: financing, talents, businesses, and people coming over, right? So if you think of ecosystem, and I often as an investor like to think about mentalities being rainforest mentality versus what we talk about a desert mentality. And I'm not talking about the geographical locations, but normally innovation comes from a rainforest mentality, with this abundance mentality. We have resources, we have people, and the results coming, versus it's a more constrained environment. So in this place, we already felt the vibe. We already built a very vibrant economy, and there's a lot of innovation components to this already, right? But to continue to grow this ecosystem to be a global powerhouse, and that needs to continue. So we have, due to time limit, we probably just ask each panelist to give one round of answers, and we're trying to leave a couple of minutes for the audience to ask questions, right? So I will start right away with my first question to Ian. And now to help set the scene, can you please give us an overview of the roles of the Dubai Financial Service Authority in contributing to the success of the DIFC and your role to enable growth and innovation from a finance? And my second question, I'm going to ask you to continue. And as we see a general trend in deglobalization, right? And how important do you think the global cooperation and the collaboration in shaping the DFIC and the contribution to innovation? Thank you.
Sure, thank you very much. I may just take 30 seconds or so to try and set the scene by explaining what the DIFC is. I'm guessing that not everyone in the room will know what the Dubai International Financial Centre is. And as the DFSA, the Financial Services Authority, we're the regulator of the Dubai International Financial Centre, the DIFC. You go back a bit more than 20 years ago, and the leadership of Dubai had a vision that Dubai could emerge as a leading international financial centre. There were domestic financial centres in the region, but you look at this region with the wealth that's in the region, with the opportunity that's in the region, with the dynamism that was in the region, but there wasn't a significant international financial centre. Much of the wealth of the region was being managed from London or from Singapore or from Geneva. And you had the financial centres of the West, those that I just mentioned, and the financial centers of the East, Singapore, Tokyo, Hong Kong, etc., but nothing in between. So the leadership envisaged that Dubai could emerge as an international financial center. They did that by not trying to do it organically, but by building a complete separate legal and physical jurisdiction. So just up the road from here, you see the iconic Gate building. That's the start of the DIFC, and it's 110 acres of a physical jurisdiction and a legal jurisdiction. I say a legal jurisdiction because the laws of the country, the laws of the UAE and the laws of Dubai were disapplied from the DIFC. And the DIFC has its own body of law. We're a common law jurisdiction. All the laws have been written for the centre, the employment law, contract laws, insolvency laws, regulatory laws, etc. So we're like a financial Vatican City, if you like, because the laws of the country don't apply inside, and we have our own legal system, common law system with our own courts. Allied to that was to build a brand new regulator, the Dubai Financial Services Authority, and that meant that international institutions could come into the DIFC knowing that there was a legal system and a body of law that they were familiar with from around the world, and, dare I say, regulatory standards that they were familiar with, because the DFSA was set up from day one to implement global and international regulatory standards. So that was how the DIFC was envisaged, and it has been a success. It's been part of Dubai's success story. Now there are about 46,000 people working in that financial center. All of the world's large institutions, almost, are doing serious business from the DIFC. Of the 29, there are 29 globally systemically important banks in the world, and the DIFC has 27 of them. Most of the main fund managers, the reinsurers. So it has emerged as an international finance hub and has helped Dubai become an international finance hub. Most of the financial institutions who are in the DIFC use it as their regional headquarters. So it might be, the region might be the Middle East, or the Middle East and North Africa, or the Middle East and South Asia. And then of late, we've made sure that not only we are a significant traditional financial center with banking, securities, and insurance, but emerging as a regional and global innovation hub. So what we do as the regulator to help that happen is try to have regulation that meets all the international standards, Basel Committee for Banking Standards, for example, but we try to do that in a balanced and proportionate way that allows innovation to flourish. So if something doesn't need to be regulated, for example, if it's a tech product, a fintech product, where there's no investor money involved, well, we stay away from it and don't regulate it. But as soon as you start taking people's money to invest in it, or trade people's assets, then of course regulation needs to attach to that. So in 2017, we established our innovation testing license, which was like a regulatory sandbox that allows startups and other small companies to come in, test an innovative financial product in a controlled environment, limited access to market, and then when it proves itself, they can go to a full financial services license from us and help the real economy. In 2021, we established our digital framework for regulating digital networks. And so our investment token legislation came in 2021 and our crypto token legislation 2022. So the DIFC is developing as a significant digital base now. Standard Chartered, for example, is basing its digital custody business in the DIFC. And of course, they could have chosen anywhere in the world to base that business. So by trying to regulate in a balanced, proportionate way, give investors confidence, give international institutions confidence that they have proper regulation, proper legal system that they're familiar with, but at the same time, trying to do that in a balanced way that allows companies to flourish and innovate. On the global bit, as I said, one of the reasons for setting up the DFSA and the DIFC was that we would regulate to international standards. And so there are 4 key standard-setting bodies globally. FATF, that everyone would have heard of, for anti-money laundering and terrorism financing. We make sure we meet all their standards. The Basel Committee for Banking, IOSCO for insurance, for securities regulation, and also there's an insurance global standards setter. The world of innovation will start to congregate around emerging international standards. We've found that we've been regulating digital, for example, crypto in particular, without having those international standards to anchor ourselves to. if the business was being done in our market, we thought we needed to regulate it, so we've been doing that. But now those standards are emerging. And in the same way that banking supervisors coalesced around Basel Committee standards, that will happen with digital as well. And we'll move from a sort of cowboy frontier market, which it still is in some places, to a place where there'll be globally consistent regulation in digital markets. That's coming. The other thing that's clear, though, is that that's where the market wants to be. Increasingly, the bigger players are saying, no, we actually want to be in a regulated environment. We want our investors, we want our customers to have the comfort of being properly regulated. And so global standards are emerging for digital assets. We are signing up to those. We, in fact, are helping to lead them. I sit on the board of IOSCO, which is the global standard-setting body for securities regulation. And that's, the world will increasingly coalesce around sensible regulation of digital assets.
Thank you, Evan. My second question will be directed at Mr. Sultan, Chairman of the Agility Global. Now, as a leading global player with the traditional industry, you have aviation, logistics, and industrial real estate. Now, how do you embrace innovation as we shift towards a knowledge-based economy? That's the first question. And the second is, with the global push towards clean energy and sustainability, do you see this as a catalyst or a challenge for the Gulf's economic transitions? Do you have?
So thank you for that question. First, I think we need to take a step back and kind of figure out how we got here. We spent the last, I would say, 20 years down the path of globalization. The global economy became very good at reaping the benefits of globalization. Everyone is focused on reducing costs, and we did a fantastic job of growth and actually reducing costs. Along comes COVID, and we get into an environment where governments start to introduce restrictions to trade. Since 2017, there's been over 3,000 new restrictions introduced to trade. Many of those started as a result of COVID, but of course they take on their own momentum, and they tend to be, I would say, policies that tend to end up benefiting one kind of group in the economy over others. Anyway, you couple with that we have three major geopolitical issues ongoing now. Decouplings between Russia and the West, China and the West, and then we have also, not to mention the issue of the Red Sea, etc. You put all that together, and if you're in the supply chain business, you can see how many different constraints we have to deal with, and the only way to actually deal with these sorts of issues is to be nimble and to invest in new types of technologies, especially the sort of technologies that allow us to deal with a different consumer set. So, as you move from a supply chain that was heavily based on moving pallets to one that's moving individual pieces for e-commerce, that also created its own sort of imperative. So the point I'm making here is that that the need for innovation, it's a must. So it's not a nice to have, it's an imperative for business. And that's the first, always the best thing when you're looking at innovation is it really needed or not? Well, it's a must. So that's the first criteria. Second is, how do we kind of look at this? First of all, innovation can be quite disruptive. So, and there was a time in our company's sort of development where we might have been a little bit too innovative for our large businesses, and that created a little bit of chaos. Not necessarily always the best way to go about things. So in our large businesses, the innovation takes place within those businesses. And one example is a company called Menzies. It's one of the leaders in global ground handling services and aviation. They have their own targets for sustainability and basically sustainable fuels. They're very deep into that. We don't need to add fuel to the fire there, to use a pun. And they need to innovate, and they need to control their own innovation. But at the same time, we also, we look at, I would take an outside-in approach, and we look not only at what's happening in the environment, but we would look at what's happening in our part of the world. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So we felt that we need to do a better job basically innovating around creating opportunities for SMEs. And SMEs, obviously, given the environment that I described, which is becoming more and more complex for businesses, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, we thought it was necessary to create the infrastructure for e-commerce. So we established kind of like an Uber for freight in the kingdom called Hamula to allow small and medium-sized enterprises to basically to become more efficient in their trucking needs. We looked at various, Shippa is an ecosystem that we developed as well, which is all about e-commerce and all about enabling SMEs and allowing them to participate in the economy. But at the same time, we've looked at other aspects of the innovation ecosystem, and we've dabbled in some medical fields, et cetera, medical technology as well, where we've looked at what are the problems that are facing us here in the GCC. So if you take the medical construct, problems like obesity, heart disease, breast cancer, these are all major issues that require solutions. So what we tend to do is we tend to look at those and work backwards with innovations that can address matters that are important to our economy here. So we try to put a filter on our innovation to do things that are relevant to the places where we operate. So that was the first question. The second one, you asked about sustain. So again, with sustainability, we need to talk about the ecosystem that's in place. First of all, unlike many countries or regions, we have leadership here that walks the talk. When they make decisions, those decisions, they empower the leadership, things get done in a way where in other countries where we operate, we don't see the same level of leadership. So that's like a major plus. Secondly, you have the ecosystem of the ADIAs, the sovereign wealth funds. These also create some very interesting opportunities for innovation and sustainability. And I would also mention that there's a major need. So what is the need that's driving these areas around sustainability? So the Middle East is generally considered to be the richest country in the world when it comes to energy wealth, but yet we're short of electricity. If you think about all the plans that we have, all of the ideas, we're very short of electricity. So when we look at that problem, we came across a company in the US that makes a generator that's printed from a 3D printer. And you say, okay, what's so innovative about that? Well, that generator can use 20 different types of fuel. So you can use today hydrocarbons. And I think it's very important to make sure that any solution around the environment basically engages the hydrocarbon industry. It's one of the areas that I think is very problematic, is that there's been this kind of the big elephant in the room is that you can't get the environment and big, oil and gas together to come. I tend to believe that without having oil and gas in the same room, we're not going to get anywhere. So the nice thing about this sort of technology is that you're engaging oil and gas today, but you can also use all of the green fuels that are coming, the same generator. So when you look at that sort of technology, it should be something that keeps the oil and gas industry sort of empowered. It's also basically enabling the new fuels that will be coming. Those sorts of opportunities are something that we really need. We're investing in. We think we need to be a catalyst, and this is the right place to do it. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Very well said. Even for so-called traditional industries, innovation and sustainability is not only a must. In order to survive and thrive, I like the way you said it's demand-driven innovation. You look for market need, and then that's where innovation will follow. And just like Dr. Liu was saying, it's going to be application coming and with the demand in mind. Now, I'm going to turn to my friend Hans. You've built businesses across the world, in the Netherlands, in China, in the high-tech space. What advice would you like to offer our host in terms of, based on your experience, in terms of transitioning to a knowledge-based economy?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here. Yesterday I was at the GTEx show, and you really see a lot of technology, AI, digital technology. I was impressed, but it came mainly from abroad. So Dubai is a trade center, and I missed Made in Dubai and Design in Dubai. So that's where I can contribute. That's why I'm excited to be here. But I cannot do that by myself. I like to do that together with Dubai, of course. Let me give a little bit of background. When I listen to the Dubai policies, I see that AI, but also health, is very important. So nowadays you see ChatGPTs, and you have digital assistants that become your executive assistant or your doctor or your tutor or your friend or boyfriend. But let's talk about health. Doctor, I'm very involved in the AI and in the healthcare industry in the Netherlands and in China. In Netherlands, to give one example, we have an invention, a disruptive invention, where you can, with a chip, can detect the quality of your breath. So can you imagine, you have some animals that smell on breath where you have cancer, and you can put it into a phone. And while you're doing a call, it's analyzing your breath, and that's going to happen in the next 5 years. So your digital doctor that has a lot of knowledge will be connected with the physical world, and that's going to happen. And what would it be more beautiful than if we could do that over here? So I can build bridges between the high technology in the Netherlands and China and here, because I have an engineering company of about 1,300 engineers. I'm really involved in technology development, but I'm also very involved in the environment. Yes, digital, robotics, untapped oceans, the next 5 years, it's all going to happen. And I believe that a lot of cases can be made and designed in Dubai. So if we can combine the technology and the know-how from the Netherlands, but also from China, China has a lot of talented people, and it's all about talents. STEM engineers, we heard, 25 million STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics engineers in China, about 3 million in Europe, 3 million in the US. So there's a lot of power also in high talents in China. So my dream is to combine the technology and the know-how and the experience from the Netherlands, the talented people and the power from China, and we are building bridges already between the Netherlands and China together with the NICE Institute in China. And what more beautiful could it be if we could also extend the bridge to Dubai? Yes, to make it more concrete, the world is not only about innovation, it's also especially about collaboration. So I set up a collaborative network called Brainport in the Netherlands, 100 super high-tech companies that support companies in the semicon, medical, and analytical industry like Thermo Fisher and ASML and Philips. They tap into 100 high-tech companies in mechatronics, electronics, optics, physics, software, mathematics, AI, and they can really accelerate their business because they have that network. And I like to connect that network also with Dubai, like I do now with China. Also, we have an incubator called Yes Delft, 600 super high-tech companies, and 70% is, since the inception, still alive. And that's quite good for an incubator who is very early in the startups. It's one of the world's leading incubators. There are a lot of interesting ventures that I like to connect with Dubai, But I cannot do that by myself. We need to do that together, of course. And I founded a company called Cohen with very senior people that are able to build those bridges. All C-level people, tech entrepreneurs that really have a deep understanding of the technology. So I'm very excited to be here. And I also invite people in the audience. If you're interested to start up a strategic collaboration with the Netherlands and China, I can help. I warmly welcome you to contact me after the meeting. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Hans. Obviously, from your story, we hear the importance of being a global company, and innovation often in many senses is connecting many dots that seemingly unrelated in terms of creating technology, developing technology, and also a supply chain that you mentioned, right? So I'll just add very quickly from my personal experience at Moja Bio. Professor Abdallah talked about the digital economy that is a big emphasis for the UAE. And every other country is also talking about the bioeconomy, right? That goes from pharmaceuticals to manufacturing and to the contribution of sustainability with renewable energy, renewable materials, right? And from Moja's point of view, so we are a technology development and commercialization engine. And one of the key things I learned in the process is we need to be global, right? And so there, obviously, from a very complicated business like biomanufacturing that takes biology, chemistry, AI, machinery, branding, it's a very, very long value chain. And each country in the world still have relative and comparative advantages. And a lot of the new ideas, 0 to 1, is built on decades of academic research. And that's, for example, in the US is still by far, the 0 to 1 is by far the most superior. But for anything that's scaling up from, let's say, 1 to 10, further develop, we go to Singapore, we have our labs in Shanghai as well. And then for manufacturing, still no place beat China for your first plant in terms of the cost, efficiency, the infrastructure, policies, et cetera, right? So I think it's very important still, want to emphasize the importance of building a global connection and relationships. Now what do we see in Dubai and in the UAE? I think from the bio manufacturing and the bioeconomy side, the drive of the country to transform is critical. And what we talked about, the determination to invest in innovation is critical. But also the availability of petrol, and we really like this, right? So we want to go from food-based feedstocks to non-food-based feedstocks. A lot of low-cost chemicals exist here that can be transformed to very high-value products with the bioprocess rather than the traditional high-pressure, high-temperature, low complexity catalyst, right? So the last point I want to make is every knowledge-based economy by definition is IP-based. And we really need intellectual properties to be able to freely transform across borders and be utilized to bring benefit to humanity. And this is a very critical advantage of this region. And as Professor Abdallah has mentioned, this is the place to connect everything and where everything be traded, including IP, right? So where over time, it's difficult to have questions, but maybe Professor Abdallah, I share your confidence and your determination. Would you give us a 30-second concluding remark?
Yeah, I think we are well over time, so 30 seconds. I think this country and this city have come a long way, and we have a long way to go too. That's number one. Second, I think what is driving the city most is the word confidence. If there is one word that describes the UAE today, it is confidence, big C confidence. I have never seen this confident, this country so confident as it is right now in all of its 50-plus years history. So if there's one thing that is taller than Burj Khalifa, it is confidence. citizens, expats, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. If you don't feel confidence, you just miss the place. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.